I sold the car I had just bought for 400,000 for 200,000. My friend called me crazy. My boss said I was wasting money. Only I knew that in 17 days, my pregnant colleague about to give birth would rush up to me and beg me to drive her to the hospital. In my past life, I tried to help someone out of kindness. The baby didn't survive, and her husband turned around and put me on the trending list, accusing me of driving roughly and causing the child's death, forcing me to pay 700,000 in compensation. In this life, when she grabbed my sleeve crying, I just spread my hands. The car is gone. Her face changed instantly. On the day I sold the car, Fong Yu grabbed the contract and refused to sign it. Zhou Qiheng, are you crazy? This car cost you 400,000 the moment it hit the road. And you've only driven it for 8 days, now you're selling it to me for 200,000. I shoved the pen into his hand. Sign. Fong Yu stared at me, his eyes fixed and blank. If you're short on money, just tell me. I'll lend it to you. Selling like this, you're losing a full 200,000. I didn't explain. 200,000 for a Leffe, so cheap it makes me want to laugh. In my past life, I was driving this very car to take Song Jianing to the hospital. She was a colleague from my team, 8 months pregnant. That day, she was clutching her stomach at the company entrance, her face pale as death. She cried and begged me, Zhou Qiheng, my stomach hurts. Save me. Take me to the hospital. I didn't think twice. I had her sit in the back seat, fastened her seatbelt, and throughout the ride, I didn't dare brake suddenly, didn't dare speed, and even slowed to a crawl over speed bumps. But the child still couldn't be saved. I had just sat down in the hallway when Song Jianing's husband, He Jiqiang, rushed out and punched me in the face. It's you. You drove so roughly that I lost my son. I was stunned on the spot. The doctor said the cause of the fetus's death was complex and required further assessment. He Jiqiang refused to listen at all. He knelt at the hospital entrance, live streaming, crying heartbreakingly. Rich people driving luxury cars don't care about human life. My wife begged him to slow down, but he still drove recklessly. My son is gone. My car was photographed. My license plate was captured. My work badge was photographed. The next day, my phone was blown up. Someone called me a murderer. Someone posted my parents' home address online. My mom went to the market to buy groceries and was yelled at to her face. My dad tried to explain things at the entrance of the neighborhood, but no one listened. His blood pressure shot up, and he ended up in the emergency room. The company suspended me from work. The boss asked me to write a letter of apology. He Jiqiang, along with a group of relatives, blocked my doorstep, pulled up banners, smashed the door, and stuffed paper money through the crack. In the end, he demanded 700,000 yuan in compensation. I won't pay, so he keeps making a scene. Legal fees, hospital bills, father's treatment costs, compensation. I've been drained dry. The most disgusting part is, after the money was sent, He Jiqiang sent me a message. If you'd just given it to me earlier, it would have been over. Had to make a fuss. Those few words, I'll remember them until the day I die. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the 8th day after buying the car. The calendar on my phone clearly showed that there were still 17 days until Song Jianing's accident. The first thing I did was sell the car. Fong Yu finally signed. He was my college classmate, now in the used car business. The moment the contract was stamped, my palms were covered in sweat. Only after handing over the car keys did I feel a slight relief in my chest. Fong Yu handed me the transfer receipt. Really no regrets. I held the receipt tightly. No regrets. When I returned to the company in the afternoon, my team immediately gathered around. I heard you sold the new car. You only bought it a few days ago. Did you really sell it? Zhou Qiheng, did you lose money in the stock market? I casually said. The family needs money. They wanted to press further, but Song Jianing walked out of the break room. She held her belly, her gaze landing on my face. In that instant, all the blood in my body ran cold. She didn't ask me why I sold it. She asked. Who did you sell it to? The office suddenly fell silent. I looked up at her. Why are you asking about this? Song Jianning's fingers tightened. And her smile was strained. Nothing. Just thought it was a shame. That car of yours was pretty new. I stared at her. In my past life. She said something when she got into my car. Your car insurance must be pretty high. Right. At the time. I just thought she was delirious from the pain. Thinking back on it now. That question wasn't just casually asked. It had been planned long ago. The next morning. Song Jianning took the initiative to bring me breakfast. She placed the soy milk on my desk. Her voice syrupy sweet. Sail away. I didn't mean anything else by what I said yesterday. Don't overthink it. I didn't touch that cup of soy milk. Thanks. I've already eaten. She stood by my desk. Not leaving. Several colleagues around looked over. Their eyes carrying a teasing tone. Song Jianning said in a low voice. Did you really sell that car? Can't you borrow it back? My hand, typing on the keyboard, stopped. Borrow it back for what? She touched her belly. My due date is coming up soon. If I suddenly need to go to the hospital one day, it's hard to get a taxi around here from the company. Your car is big. And the ride is steady. In her past life, she said the same thing. The car is big. Sitting steady. Later. When He Jiqiang scolded me, he also said my car's chassis was too stiff. Jostling the child. One mouth. Two sets of words. All depending on what's needed when asking for money. I pushed the soy milk back. The car has been transferred. It's not mine. Song Jianning's smile froze on her face. Didn't you just buy full coverage insurance? It's only been a few days, the insurance should still be valid. Right. I looked up. How did you know I bought full insurance? She opened her mouth. Everyone knows that. Don't all new cars come with these? Zhao Kai, a colleague sitting nearby, chimed in. I don't know. Song Jianning shot him a glare. Zhao Kai immediately shut his mouth. I picked up my phone, opened the voice recorder, and placed it face down on the table. Song Jianning, if you're worried about giving birth, you can take leave in advance and be hospitalized. The company has a policy that allows pregnant employees to apply for flexible arrangements. Her face darkened. What do you mean? I'm just trying not to cause trouble for everyone. Aren't I? I said. If you're afraid of causing trouble, just call emergency services. She bit her lip. Her eyes reddening. Qiheng, why are you suddenly so cold-hearted? Can't you even help a colleague? As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere in the office shifted instantly. Someone tried to persuade me. Zhou Qiheng. She's a pregnant woman. Don't be so harsh. Exactly. Everyone needs help sometimes. Fine. You sold your car. But don't be so stubborn about it. I looked at them. In my past life, they had said the same things. Before the accident, they said, would it kill you to help? After the accident, they said, who told you to show off? I saved the recording and stood up. I'm going to file a report with HR. Song Jianning was stunned. File what? File a record that I don't have a car and cannot take on any non-work-related transportation responsibilities. Also, remind the company that in case of an emergency with a pregnant employee, an ambulance must be called. And regular employees should not be allowed to transport them privately. After I finished speaking, I went straight to the HR office. HR Zhong Jie frowned after hearing this. Are you being too sensitive? I placed a printed explanation in front of her. Please sign for it. If the company doesn't sign, I'll send an email. Zhong Jie glanced at me. You're thinking too badly of your colleagues. I said. I'm just making the responsibilities clear. After leaving HR, I went to the law firm. He Chuan is a friend of my cousin, specializing in civil disputes. I didn't mention Rebirth. I only said that someone might take advantage of a pregnant woman's sudden condition and later shift the blame onto the rescuer. After hearing this, He Chuan's expression turned very serious. Remember 3 things. First, do not take them to the hospital on your own. Second, do not help them move or shift positions unless instructed by emergency personnel over the phone. Third, Document everything throughout the process. Whether you call the police or security, a third party must be present. I nodded. Hikawa asked again. Have you already been targeted? I was silent for a few seconds. Maybe. He slid the business card toward me. Selling the car isn't enough. Someone who really wants to scam you will bite in a different way. My fingers tightened. I thought avoiding that car would be the end of it. Kohechuan's words yanked back the unease I had just managed to suppress. On the third day, Fong Yu called me. He usually spoke in a flippant, carefree manner, but this time his tone was low. Zhou Qihang. A guy came to the shop asking about your car. I sat up straight. Ask what? Ask if that blue car was sold by you. And whether the transfer was completed. The strangest thing was, he asked if the car could be driven out on the 17th. Sweat suddenly seeped from my palms. The 17th. In the previous life. The day Song Jianing met with misfortune. I asked. Is the person still here? Just left. I have surveillance footage in my shop. And it also recorded what he said. Fong Yu paused for a moment. Did you get into trouble? My throat tightened. Keep the footage safe. Don't delete it. Don't sell that car for now. Leave it in the shop. Are you really in trouble? Fong Yu, help me out this once. There was silence on the other end of the line for 2 seconds. Okay. Half an hour later, he sent me the recording. I put on my headphones. Inside, there was first the voice of a Fong Yu store clerk. Sir, would you like to take a look at the car? A man asked. The Haoqi we picked up a couple of days ago. The original owner was Zhou Qihang. Right. When I heard that voice, a chill ran down my spine. He Jiqiang. He continued. Are the formalities done? Has the insurance been cancelled? Can the original owner take it out on the 17th? The shop assistant said. Sir, the car no longer belongs to the original owner. It's not appropriate for you to ask about this. He Jiqiang let out a laugh. I'm just asking. He's a soft-hearted person. If there's really an emergency, he won't just ignore it. There were a few seconds of noise in the recording. Then, he lowered his voice and said, the kid's already hanging by a thread. Someone has to pay up. I took off my headphones, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. In my past life, I always thought I was just unlucky. I thought kindness had met with malice. Now I understand. It wasn't Song Jianing asking for help midway. It wasn't He Jiqiang losing control in grief. They had chosen me long ago. New car. Full insurance. Single. Parents are honest. The job is decent. In their eyes, this is not a person's life, but a compensation list. I forwarded the recording to Hechuan. He called back quickly. This thing is crucial, but it can't be sent out directly right now. The other side hasn't made a move yet. And outsiders will only think you're overly suspicious. I asked. So I just wait. Not just wait, set the boundaries. Make sure every step he takes lands on the evidence. I did as he said. Send an email to the company. CCHR. Supervisor. And administration. The content is very simple. Recently, there is a pregnant colleague in the team. I suggest the company clarify the emergency procedures. In case of sudden situations such as abdominal pain, bleeding, or falls, call emergency services immediately and let professionals handle it. Ordinary employees should not privately drive to transport the person. To avoid delaying treatment and liability disputes. Supervisor Qiu Zhenghai quickly called me into his office. He closed the door. His face drawn long. Zhou Qihang. What are you doing? Sending an email like that? Are you targeting Song Jianing? I said. I'm just reminding the company. Qiu Zhenghai slammed the table. Pregnant women are already sensitive. How do you expect her to feel after reading what you wrote? I looked at him. In the previous life, after the incident, he was the first to make me apologize. He said the company couldn't withstand public opinion. He said I was young and could just tough it out. He said paying some money was a lesson learned. Now, he still has that same expression. I asked, if she has a sudden emergency at the company, how does the company plan to handle it? Qiu Zhenghai waved his hand irritably. Of course, we help as much as we can. Whoever is closest will take her. I took out my phone. Would you be willing to put this sentence into the company's procedures? His expression changed. Are you recording this? I said. I'm just confirming responsibility. Qiu Zhenghai stared at me. You've been acting very strange lately. I nodded. I think so too. Coming out of the office, Song Jianing was standing at the door. She had clearly heard part of it. She stared at me, her voice very soft. Zhou Qihang, do you know something? I looked at her pale face. I know. For emergencies you call an ambulance. Her lips moved, but she said nothing more. Yet as she turned away, the panic in her eyes couldn't be hidden. The 17th still arrived. That morning, Song Jianing came to work in a loose jacket. She was supposed to be on maternity leave. In her previous life, she said there was no one at home to take care of her, so she wanted to work a few more days to earn a bit more performance pay. Now that I think about it, this reason is ridiculously bad. As soon as she entered the office, Zhao Kai whispered, Jianing, you're about to give birth. And you're still coming in. Song Jianing smiled weakly. I still need to hand over some project materials. And I'll take leave once that's done. When she said this, her eyes kept glancing in my direction. I didn't meet her gaze. I fully charged my phone, turned on the voice recorder, and placed a small recording pen in my badge holder. 10:27. The sound of a cup shattering came from the break room. Immediately after, Song Jianing's crying was heard. It hurts. My stomach hurts. The office instantly fell into chaos. Several people rushed over. I stood still and first called emergency services. The call connected, and I put it on speaker. This is the 5th floor of Hentai Technology. A pregnant woman is experiencing abdominal pain. Please send an ambulance. The address is. After I gave the address, the emergency dispatcher asked about the pregnant woman's condition. I looked toward the break room. Song Jianing, can you speak? Any bleeding? Did you fall? She was being supported by 2 female colleagues. Her forehead covered in sweat, but she didn't answer the operator's questions. She raised her hand and pointed at me. Qihang, take me to the hospital. Hurry up. There's no time. All eyes turned to me. Zhao Kai was getting anxious. Don't you have no car? You could just call a ride-hailing service. Another colleague said. An ambulance would take time to arrive. What if it delays things? I held my phone up higher, letting the speakerphone sound carry through the air. The paramedics are already on the phone. Please follow their instructions. Do not move on your own. Song Jianing suddenly cried even harder. Are you just going to watch me suffer like this? Zhou Qihang, do you have any conscience at all? She reached out to grab my sleeve. I took a step back. She grabbed at nothing. At that moment, someone in the office gasped. Qiu Zhenghai rushed out of the office. Zhou Qihang, a life is at stake. What are you hiding from? I pointed at my phone. The emergency line is busy. If she needs to be moved, let the operator guide us. A female colleague from the company can accompany her, and security can clear the elevator. I won't transport her on my own. Qiu Zhenghai was furious. Are you even a man? I looked at him. I'm an ordinary employee, not an obstetrician. The operator heard the argument and raised her voice. Please remain calm. Everyone on site. Pregnant women should not move around casually or drive themselves to the hospital. Please confirm the gestational age, previous test results, and whether there are any abnormal fetal movements. Let me repeat the question. Song Jianing, the emergency responders are asking you, have your recent fetal movements been normal? Song Jianing's crying paused for a moment. Not only did she stop, even Qiu Zhenghai was stunned. I pressed on. When was your last prenatal checkup? Her face turned ashen, and her lips trembled. I don't know. The operator immediately asked. The pregnant woman herself doesn't know. Is any family member present? Please have a family member bring the prenatal checkup records to the hospital. I said. I'll notify her husband right away. Song Jianing suddenly shouted. No. Everyone looked at her, realizing she had overreacted. She changed her words. That's not what I meant. He's on his way. He'll be here soon. The chill in my heart grew even heavier. He Zhejiang on the road. Where did he come from? How could he be so coincidental? The ambulance will arrive in 12 minutes. When the ambulance doctor and nurse went upstairs, Ji Jiqiang also arrived. He didn't come running out of the elevator. He burst in holding up his phone. The camera was aimed at me. His voice loud enough for the entire floor to hear. It's him. My wife begged him to take her to the hospital, but he refused to help. The office erupted. Qiu Zhenghai's face turned pale. Zhong Jie quickly blocked the camera. Family members. Save the person first. Don't film. Ji Jiqiang pushed her away. Your company is covering for him. I'm telling you, if anything happens to my wife and child, none of you will get away with it. The doctor frowned. Family. Step aside. Don't interfere with the emergency treatment. Ji Jiqiang immediately changed his expression and rushed to the stretcher. Honey, don't be afraid. I'm here. Whoever bullied you, I'll make them pay with their life. Song Jianing lay on the stretcher. Tears streaming down continuously. She didn't see a doctor. She looked at me. There was no plea for help in those eyes. Only resentment. Resentment that I didn't follow the path from the previous life. The nurse asked where the prenatal checkup booklet was. Ji Jiqiang paused for a moment. At home. I forgot to bring it. The doctor's face grew even darker. Were there any abnormalities before? Was hospitalization recommended? Ji Jiqiang shouted back. Why are you asking so many questions? Just save the person. I stood to the side, saved the recording of the emergency call, and sent the on-site video to Hechuan. After arriving at the hospital, I did not enter the emergency area. I stood in the hallway, waiting for the police to arrive. I was the one who called the police. The reason was that family members were filming and spreading the scene on-site, accusing me of standing by and doing nothing, which could lead to disputes. So I requested that the facts be documented. Ji Jiqiang grew even angrier at the sight of the police. You still dare to call the police? If my son dies, will calling the police do any good? I looked at him. It will. At least it can record when I called for emergency help and when you started filming. His face twitched. An hour later, the doctor came out. Song Jianing was saved. The child was not saved. The hallway fell silent. Ji Jiqiang froze for a few seconds, then lunged at me the next moment. It's you. You didn't deliver. You killed my son. The police held him back. He was still shouting. If he had driven, he would have arrived long ago. The ambulance delayed things. He clearly has a car. I took out the transfer receipt. I sold my car 17 days ago. Ji Jiqiang's eyes flickered. You sold it on purpose. You just don't want to save me. I looked at him. How do you know I used to have a car? Everyone around heard it. Ji Jiqiang started cursing immediately. You're showing off your new car, who doesn't know? I played the in-store recording sent by Fong Yu. Ji Jiqiang's voice echoed in the corridor. Can the original owner take car? No. 17 out for a trip. The kid's already in a precarious situation. Someone has to come up with the money. The air instantly froze. Ji Jiqiang's face changed. He lunged at me, trying to snatch my phone. The police officer pressed him down. What are you doing? Ji Jiqiang struggled. Fake. He fabricated it. He harmed my wife and child. And now he's using forged evidence to slander me. I didn't argue with him. I said to the police, the original footage is at the car dealership. The owner can cooperate with the investigation. Ji Jiqiang gasped for breath. Staring at me, his gaze was so hateful it could bite. The doctor spoke up at this moment. Family member. The time of the fetus's passing requires further assessment. However, based on the current examination, it does not support the idea that it was caused by a wait of over 10 minutes. Ji Jiqiang suddenly turned his head and shouted at the doctor. Did you take his money? The doctor's face turned cold. Please watch your words. He still wanted to make a scene. So the police took him aside for questioning. I thought that with the evidence laid out, he would at least show some restraint. But I underestimated his shamelessness. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, a title appeared on the short video platform. A pregnant woman begged for help but was coldly refused by her colleague. And her child tragically passed away. In the video, there was only that 1 second when I stepped back. My face was zoomed in on. Song Jianing cried and said, "Chihung, take me to the hospital." Then I stepped back with a cold expression. The first comment in the replies read, "People like that don't deserve to live." The pool of filth from my past life found a new entrance and surged toward me once again. My phone rang from dusk until night. Unknown number. Bears came one after another. "Why don't you just die? Not even saving a pregnant woman. Do your parents know how heartless you are? The address has been found. Just wait." I muted my phone and used another backup number to contact Hechuan. Hechuan's first words were, "Don't respond to emotions. Only respond to facts." I said. "He edited the video. I saw it. Don't release all the evidence yet." I gritted my teeth. "Why?" "Because he's still inciting online harassment. The more complete the evidence, the heavier the accountability later. You need to give him room to keep performing." I stared at the vicious comments on the screen. In my past life, I was slowly driven mad by these words. My father's hands trembled as he answered the phone. My mother held me and cried, saying we should just pay up and stop fighting. In this life, I can't let them get involved again. I'll call my parents first. "Dad, Mom, from now on, don't answer calls from strangers. If anyone asks about me, say you don't know. If someone causes trouble at the entrance of the neighborhood, call the police immediately." My mom was frightened. "Sale, what happened now? Someone's trying to scam me." My dad asked in a deep voice. "Do they want money? They want more." The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds. My dad said, "We're not afraid. Don't carry it all on your own." Those words made my eyes burn. In my past life, what hurt me the most wasn't losing money. I dragged them into this. Yet I can't even protect the truth. At 8 in the evening, Chiu Zhenghai called me. "Zhou Qihang, you don't need to come to the company tomorrow." I asked. "Suspended. Get some rest first. There's a lot of public backlash right now. And the company needs to handle it." "What does the company need to handle?" Chiu Zhenghai suppressed his anger. "You're still being so aggressive. Do you know how badly our company's official account is being criticized? First, issue an apology statement saying you were nervous at the time and handled it improperly." I laughed. "And then, the company cuts me off. And He Jiqiang continues to demand compensation." Chiu Zhenghai said angrily, "Don't make it sound so harsh. The child is really gone. And it's not unreasonable for the family to ask for an attitude." I asked, "Have you watched the full video?" He paused for a moment. "Now no one cares about the full footage. Everyone just looks at the results." I had heard this line in my previous life. I hung up the phone. 10 minutes later, a notice was posted on the company's internal network. Due to employee Zhou Qihang's improper handling of an emergency incident, which caused adverse social impact, the company has decided to suspend his work pending an investigation. I stared at that line of text, my fingertips turning cold. They didn't even ask me a single question before pinning the blame on me. The final straw was the photo my mom sent me. Someone had pasted a piece of paper on my front door. It read, "Cold-blooded baby killer. Blood for blood." The fire in my chest instantly blazed up. I sent a message to Hechuan. "I'm not waiting anymore." Hechuan replied quickly, "Release the first set of evidence. Only your timeline. Don't touch the medical records." I finished editing the video. First segment. At 10:27. I called emergency services. Second segment. The operator explicitly instructed not to move the person on my own. Third segment. The ambulance arrived in 12 minutes. Paragraph 4. He Jiqiang burst into the office holding his phone. And his first words were not to ask about his wife, but to accuse me. Paragraph 5. The vehicle transfer receipt was dated 17 days ago. Finally, I wrote only one sentence. What I refused was not saving a life, but being forced to take on responsibilities beyond professional medical care. 5 minutes after posting, the comments section was still full of criticism. 10 minutes later, some people began to notice something was off. He called emergency services right away. The emergency hotline said not to move the person. So why force an ordinary person to take them to the hospital? Family members arrive and start filming first. That's way too practiced. Half an hour later, Fong Yu posted a second video using the car dealership's account. He Jiqiang went to the dealership to inquire about the footage of my car. The line, "The kid was already hanging by a thread. Someone has to pay up," was played loud and clear. The wind has shifted. A large crowd flooded He Jiqiang's account to confront him. He deleted comments, turned off private messages, and posted a new video crying out, "I was speaking in anger. My child is gone. Am I not allowed to break down?" But this time, no one fully believed him. At 11 o'clock at night, He Chuan sent over a document. "I found something." In the picture was a maternity and infant insurance policy. Policyholder, He Jiqiang. Beneficiary, He Jiqiang. Time of insurance purchase, 3 weeks before the accident. I stared at that line of text, a wave of nausea rising in my stomach. He didn't go mad on a whim. He had already made his calculations in advance. The next day, I met He Chuan. He spread the documents across the table. He Jiqiang owes a lot of online loans, as well as private borrowings, in the past 3 months. He has frequently consulted about compensation disputes. I scrolled to the chat screenshot. Someone in it asked him, "It's best to go after the car owner, not the hospital. Hospitals are tough to deal with. Ordinary people are afraid of making a scene." He Jiqiang replied, "There's a guy at my wife's company. Just bought a new car. An honest man. An honest man." Those 3 words made my hands tremble. In my past life, they took advantage of my honesty. I didn't dare to make a scene at the hospital. I didn't dare to speak harshly to the pregnant woman. I didn't dare to involve my parents. So they gradually increased the stakes. He Chuan tapped the table. There are 2 directions now. First, defamation of reputation, demanding deletion, an apology, and compensation. Second, if he threatens you with spreading private information and continuous online harassment to extort money, we'll take the route of blackmail and extortion. I asked, "Will he ask for money?" He Chuan looked at me. "Yes. He won't stop until he gets the money." Sure enough, in the afternoon, He Jiqiang sent me a message through Song Jianning's phone. "Zhou Qihang, let's meet. If you take things to the extreme, it won't be good for anyone." I replied, "If you have a problem, talk to my lawyer." He sent a voice message directly. "Don't play dumb. You're just trying to weasel out of it, aren't you? My child is gone. Pay me 600,000 and issue a public apology, and I'll let this go. Otherwise, I'll put your parents online too." I saved the voice message. He Chuan asked me to agree to meet, but the location was chosen to be the mediation room near the police station. He Jiqiang arrived. He was dressed all in black, his eyes bloodshot, with 2 relatives following behind him. As soon as he sat down, he slammed the table. 600,000. Not a penny less. I said, "What's your basis?" "My son's life. The doctor said the fetal death was not caused by me." "Fuck the doctors." He kept spewing profanities. The mediator reminded him to calm down. He Jiqiang pointed at me. "I'm telling you. Don't think posting a few videos will turn things around. I know big accounts that can put you back on the trending list. I know where your parents live. I'll go to your workplace too. If you don't pay up, I'll make your life impossible every single day." I asked, "So you want 600,000 to stop spreading it?" He sneered. "You get it." I asked again, "If I don't pay, will you continue to release my and my parents' information?" "Yes. Do you admit that the previous video was edited?" He paused for a moment, then cursed. "So what if it was edited? Who would watch it if it wasn't?" The mediation room fell silent. He still hadn't realized that the recording device on the table had been on the whole time. He Chuan sat beside me, jotting down every word with his head lowered. The door was pushed open. 2 police officers walked in. He Jiqiang's face suddenly changed. "What do you mean?" The police looked at him. "Someone has reported that you are suspected of extorting money by threatening to expose private information and continuously spreading rumors. Please cooperate with the investigation." He Jiqiang suddenly stood up. My child is gone. I am the victim. I looked at him. Losing your child doesn't give you the right to treat someone else's entire family as your personal ATM. He lunged at me, but was stopped by the police. Zhou Qiheng, don't get too cocky. You think you've won. Your own company won't even back you up. Those words made my heart sink. How does he know the internal attitude of the company? Unless someone tipped him off. I returned to the company on the morning of the third day. Strictly speaking, since I was suspended from work, I shouldn't have entered the office. But I must take what belongs to me, and also retrieve something in return. When I entered, everyone was looking at me. Zhao Kai was the first to come over and whispered, "Qiheng, the online situation has turned around. Are you okay?" I glanced at him. In his past life, he was silent. In this life, at least he didn't step on me. I nodded. Not bad. Song Jianning's seat was empty. She was still in the hospital. Qiu Zhenghai came out of the office with a grim expression. "Who told you to come?" I said. "I'm here to pick up my personal belongings. The company hasn't notified you to return yet." "I know." I walked to my workstation, opened the drawer, and put the voice recorder, backup hard drive, and a few paper documents into my bag. Qiu Zhenghai lowered his voice. "Zhou Qiheng, don't blow this out of proportion. The company issued that notice to calm public opinion, not to target you." I looked up. The notice mentioned my name, saying I mishandled the situation. He rubbed his brow in irritation. "That's just PR talk. Can spreading rumors really be called talk?" He glared at me. "Are you really going to burn bridges with the company?" I took out my phone and played the words he had said in the office that day. "Of course. Help whenever you can. Whoever's closest should take them." His face instantly turned pale. I played the second segment. "This is the meeting recording that Zhao Kai sent me after I left the company." Qiu Zhenghai's voice was very clear. "Suspend Zhou Qiheng first. The family is making a fuss about him, not the company. Don't mention the pregnant woman still being on duty when she went into labor. Whoever brings it up will be held responsible." The office was dead silent. Zhong Jie stood at the door of HR, her face turning pale. I looked at her. "Who gave He Jiqiang my address and my parents' phone number?" Zhong Jie immediately denied it. "It wasn't me." I took out the printout. It was a screenshot of the threatening text message He Jiqiang had sent me. It contains my parents' address. And even my father's former workplace is written there. This information is all in the company's employee files. I said, "I've already called the police. And I will also file a complaint about the company leaking personal information. Anyone who has checked my file can be traced through the back-end records." Zhong Jie's lips trembled. I just gave Mr. Qiu the emergency contact number." Qiu Zhenghai was furious. "What nonsense are you talking about?" She was also getting anxious. "You said the family wants to communicate. So I sent it to you." Qiu Zhenghai pointed at her. "Don't you go biting people indiscriminately." I watched them shift the blame onto each other, feeling not a shred of satisfaction, only disgust. In the previous life, they pushed me out to protect the company. In this life, they still want to do the same. But this time, I won't let them. I placed a lawyer's letter on Qiu Zhenghai's desk. Defamation of reputation, illegal suspension, disclosure of personal information, and infringement of labor rights. The company can expect to receive the letter. Qiu Zhenghai's face turned ashen. "Zhou Qiheng, do you still want to stay in this industry in the future?" I looked at him. "Think about it first whether you can still hold this position." Just then, Zhao Kai suddenly spoke. "Mr. Qiu, there are media and labor inspectors downstairs." Qiu Zhenghai turned his head abruptly. "Who called?" I picked up my bag. "Me." He finally panicked. I didn't just pick any media outlet. It was He Chuan who contacted the Legal Affairs program. They won't edit recklessly or manipulate the narrative, they only ask for the facts. The labor inspectors came because I submitted materials about the company's improper handling of employees and forcing individuals to bear sudden risks. Qiu Zhenghai initially tried to put on a leadership air, but as soon as the camera started rolling, his tone immediately changed. The company has always cared about its employees. Suspending Zhou Qihang's work was to protect him. I stood nearby, almost laughing out loud. The reporter asked, "Then why does the notice say it was mishandled?" Qiu Zhenghai was at a loss for words. The reporter continued. The pregnant employee was still on the job close to her due date. Did the company provide any risk warnings or arrangements? Qiu Zhenghai's forehead was sweating. We need to verify internally. The reporter then asked. The company has obtained employees' personal addresses and their parents' phone numbers from family members. Has the company investigated the source of the leak? Zhong Jia lowered her head, not daring to speak. After that interview was published, the company's official account completely exploded. Those who had been cursing me turned around and started cursing the company. What's worse? An employee submitted an anonymous post. The company has been long-term exploiting pregnant employees, deducting performance pay for failing to meet attendance standards. Song Jianing didn't want to take leave, but doing so would affect her bonus and probation evaluation. This new piece of information made the whole situation even more complicated. Some people began to sympathize with Song Jianing. Others asked if she was forced by the company. Then why did he Jiqiang keep an eye on the car owner in advance? I didn't step in to fight. I know. There's still one last piece of the truth missing. That afternoon, Song Jianing called me. Her voice was very hoarse. Zhou Qihang, come to the hospital. I said. If you need something, talk to a lawyer. She cried. I want to testify. I didn't agree immediately. She gasped a few times. He Jiqiang wants to put all the blame on me. He said it was me who begged you. Me who filmed the video. Me who wanted the money. He wants a divorce and is making me leave with nothing. I remained silent. She continued. I have chat records. On the day of the prenatal checkup, the doctor advised hospitalization because the baby's condition was not good. He Jiqiang wouldn't let me stay, saying hospitalization costs money, and also said you just bought a car, so it's easy to extort you. I gripped my phone tightly. You knew at the time. Her crying stopped. A few seconds later, she said, I know part of it. I closed my eyes. Which part? He said to have you take me, and if something happened, he'd come to you for compensation. I was scared at the time, and I couldn't bear to lose the child either. I thought, maybe it could be saved. Maybe it was just to scare you. Her voice grew softer and softer as she spoke. I felt utterly disgusted inside. She wasn't entirely forced into it. She was gambling too. Gambling with my child. Gambling with my whole family. Zhou Qihang. Please help me. She choked up. These are all the evidence I have now. I said. Hand the evidence over to the police. She grew anxious. Then I'll be implicated too. You were already in it. She suddenly shrieked. But I lost my child. Why can't you show me some pity for once? I let out a laugh. I was pitted in my past life. She didn't understand. I didn't need her to understand either. I hung up the phone and handed the call recording to He Chuan. An hour later, Song Jianing still went to the police station to submit the documents. After He Jiqiang found out, he went completely mad. In the dead of night, he ran to the downstairs of my apartment, smashing the access control glass with a brick. When the security guard tried to stop him, he just sat on the ground and shouted, Zhou Qihang ruined my family. He bribed my wife. He bribed the police. I didn't go downstairs. I called the police directly. As the police took him away, he was still shouting curses up at the building. You can't win. I still have the video. I'll drag you down with me even if I die. I stood by the window, my palms cold. What else could he pull out? The next day, the answer came. A major account with millions of followers posted a new video. The title is, Reversal After Reversal. Cold-blooded man suspected of bribing a new mother to forge evidence. The person who posted the video is named Wei Dong. He specializes in covering social hot topics. In my past life, he was the one who partially blurred my license plate and photos before posting them online. He claimed to be pursuing justice, but his justice came with a price tag based on traffic. This time, he edited his video even more ruthlessly. He placed the haggard image of Song Jianing after her hospitalization at the forefront, then released the footage of He Chuan and me entering the police station. The voiceover said, "An ordinary family loses a child, while a wealthy car owner quickly hires a lawyer to fight back. Is it really this hard for the weak to have their voice heard?" My blood pressure shot up. Wealthy car owner. I've already sold my car. He even posted a screenshot of my car sale contract, deliberately covering the price and leaving only the words "cost 400,000 on the road. The comments section erupted once again. Capital is truly terrifying. Pregnant women are all being forced to change their tune. Aren't they? The man is really good at whitewashing. I called He Chuan. He said, "Don't worry. He will contact you." Sure enough. Half an hour later, an unfamiliar number called. The caller claimed to be from Wei Dong's team. "Mr. Zhou, we can give you a chance to explain." I asked. "How do I explain? Pay for a connection. Or provide exclusive material. Otherwise, we can only keep following up based on the existing information." I understand. This is not an interview. It's a threat with a clear price tag. I asked, "What if I don't cooperate?" The other person laughed. "The netizens have the right to know." I recorded the call. "You mean, if we don't pay or provide materials, you'll keep publishing biased content?" The other party immediately became alert. "Mr. Zhou, don't misinterpret. We're just monitoring." I hung up the phone. He Chuan moved faster. He directly sent a lawyer's letter to Wei Dong and the platform, demanding the removal of infringing content and the retention of dissemination data. At the same time, we filed a supplementary report with the police. He Jiqiang provided the edited material to Wei Dong, who, without verification, disseminated it again and used suggestive language to incite online harassment. This time, I didn't clear things up on my own. Song Jianing stepped forward. She posted a video. Her face was pale, and her voice was very soft. "I admit that my husband, He Jiqiang, had asked me to seek help from Zhou Qihang before the incident. He knew Zhou Qihang had bought a new car and also knew the fetus was in poor condition. He told me to get into that car no matter what." Zhou Qihang called emergency services immediately that day and did not delay medical treatment. She paused for a long time before speaking the next sentence. "I apologize for the harm I caused to Zhou Qihang." After this video was released, Wei Dong's account was flooded with questions. "Didn't you say she was bribed? Where's the evidence? The person herself has come out and said it. And you're still playing dead. This isn't oversight. This is exploiting tragedy for attention." Wei Dong quickly deleted the video and posted a flimsy explanation. "The source of information is complex. The follow-up should be based on the police report." I stared at that sentence, my fingers aching from pressing down. In my past life, he had retreated the same way. Push someone into the fire, then claim the information source is complex. I forwarded the receipt of the lawyer's letter. "I will sue to the end." Wei Dong stopped pretending. He sent me a private message. "Bro. No need. Internet trends come and go fast. Even if you actually sue, you won't get much money." I replied to him, "I don't want much money. I want you to publicly apologize and keep it pinned for 30 days. He replied with a smiley face, "You're overthinking it." Half a month later, he couldn't laugh anymore, because the police report came out. He Mao was suspected of fabricating facts, repeatedly posting edited videos, threatening the victim and their family, and extorting money under the guise of compensation. He has been taken compulsory measures according to the law. The notice did not include my full name, but everyone knows who He Mao is. Wei Dong's account lost hundreds of thousands of followers overnight. The advertisers pulled out. Those who had been attacked by his rhythm also stepped forward one after another. He wanted to use me as traffic. In the end, I became the first brick to fall. After He Jiqiang was taken away, the company finally couldn't hold on. Qiu Zhenghai suspended pending investigation. Zhong Jie transferred from her position. The company's legal department contacted me, hoping to reach a settlement. I asked, "How do you plan to settle?" The other party's tone was very polite. "Publicly clarify. Restore your reputation. backpay your salary during the suspension period, and provide a certain amount of compensation. I said. And also the leaking of my family's information. The legal department remained silent. This needs further verification. I smiled. Then see you in court. The other party immediately changed their tune. We can talk. They understand costs too well. Before, they thought sacrificing me was the cheapest option. Now that they realize I refuse to be sacrificed, they've started calculating a different cost. Ultimately, the company issued a public apology. It acknowledged that the previous notice was inappropriately worded, admitted to procedural deficiencies in handling employee emergencies, and conceded that there was lax management of employee personal information. On the day the compensation was credited, I felt no joy. I took my parents to look at houses. In my past life, having our doorstep blocked by people became my mother's deepest nightmare. In this life, I'm going to make them find somewhere else to live. My father looked at the housing prices and frowned. Chi-hung, there's no need to spend so much for us. My mom also said, we're used to living in the old house. I placed the letter of intent to purchase the house on the table. It's not for you. It's for me. They looked at me. I said, I want to get a good night's sleep. My mother's eyes reddened. And she didn't try to persuade me anymore. Before He Jiqiang's case went to trial, Song Jianing came to see me once. She had lost a lot of weight, and her whole demeanor was broken. She said, I'm preparing for a divorce. I didn't say anything. She added, my parents scolded me, saying I deserved it. The He family also blamed me, saying I ruined their son. I looked at her. You didn't come to me just to say this, did you? Her fingers twisted together. I want to ask you for a letter of forgiveness. The lawyer said that if you forgive me, my side might get a lighter sentence. I asked, what makes you think I would give it? Tears fell from her eyes. I've already lost my child. There was no ripple in my heart. A child is not your Gatuta fail-free card. She looked up. And finally there was resentment in her eyes. You don't feel the slightest bit of pity. I said, showing pity to you is being cruel to my parents. She opened her mouth, but in the end, no words came out. I did not provide a letter of forgiveness, but I also did not pursue her with online harassment. She needs to face the law and confront her own choices. That is already enough. On the day of the trial, He Jiqiang was still making excuses from the defendant's seat. He claimed he was merely overwhelmed with grief. He said the money he demanded was only civil compensation. He argued that the recording was taken out of context, until the prosecution played the recording of his phone call with the online loan collector. The collector asked, what if you can't pay by the end of the month? He Jiqiang said, almost there. My wife is about to give birth. There's a new car guy at the company. Even if I don't hit him, I can still scam him. The courtroom was terrifyingly silent. Song Jianing lowered her head, her shoulders trembling continuously. He Jiqiang finally panicked. He turned around and shouted at her. It's all your fault. You're useless. You couldn't even get in the car when I told you to. The judge banged the gavel. The defendant will remain silent. I sat in the gallery, watching him hysterical. In my past life, he stood on a moral high ground and trampled me into the mud. In this life, he swallowed the mud back himself. On the day the verdict was handed down, the weather was fine. He Jiqiang was sentenced to fixed-term imprisonment for attempted extortion, defamation, and other issues. Song Jianing, having been involved in some of the facts but voluntarily submitting evidence and pleading guilty, received a corresponding punishment. Wei Dong publicly apologized, pinned it for 30 days, and compensated me for my reputation loss and legal costs. At the company, Qiu Zhenghai resigned. Zhong Jia also left. Zhao Kai sent me a message. Sail away. The company is now redoing the emergency procedures for pregnant employees. It's ironic. Really, your first email already made everything very clear. I replied to him. Making things clear isn't hard. What's hard is having someone willing to take responsibility. He was silent for a long time, then replied, I'm sorry. I pressured you that day too. I looked at that line of text and didn't press him further. In the future, When something happens, call emergency services first. Got it. After everything was over, Fong Yu asked me if I wanted to buy that car back. The car is still in his shop. Because of being involved in this incident, many people know about that car, but no one dares to buy it. I went to the shop once. That blue sedan was parked in the corner, its body polished very brightly. Fong Yu patted the roof of the car. You're taking a big loss, aren't you? If you buy it back now, I'll give you a discount. I shook my head. I'm not buying it. Really don't like it anymore. I looked at that car, recalling the blood pressure alarm in the hallway from my past life, remembering my mother being scolded until she trembled, and thinking of He Jiqiang's message. Wouldn't it have been over if you'd just given it earlier? My stomach still churns. It's not that I don't like it, Anna Marie, it's that I no longer need it. Fong Yu sighed. Those 200,000, you really spent them ruthlessly. I smiled. Worth it. Later. My parents moved into the new house. I quit my previous job and went to work at a company opened by He Chuan's friend. My salary didn't skyrocket, nor did I suddenly rise to become some big shot. But every day after work, I can go home peacefully. There are no more strangers cursing at the phone. No one is blocking the doorway anymore. My mom has started growing flowers. My dad exercises every morning, and his blood pressure has become much more stable. Once during a meal, my mom suddenly said, "Chi-hung, if you ever come across someone in trouble, we can't just not help them." My chopsticks paused for a moment. My dad glanced at her. She quickly added, "What I mean is, you have to help wisely, without getting yourself caught up in it." I nodded. I know. Kindness should not be handing the handle of a knife to the wicked. Saving others should not mean letting ordinary people take the blame for professional responsibilities. Call emergency services when you should. Call the CE when you should. Gather evidence when you should. Don't let a phrase like "are you even a man?" put yourself and your whole family on the line. I lived a second life. And what I learned was not cold-bloodedness. It was boundaries. Later on, someone asked me, a car that cost 400,000 when it first hit the road, sold for 200,000. Do you regret it? I said, no regrets. What I lost was the price of the car. What I saved was my life. Hey, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a 10-point scale, please. If you like this kind of content, hit that follow button.